The Galactic Council chamber was designed to control fear. It was enormous. Towering silver pillars reached up into a glowing ceiling that shifted like slow clouds of light. Holographic star maps floated above a circular floor made of black crystal. Every seat was filled by alien leaders from hundreds of species. Their armor reflected soft blue light. Their eyes, some glowing, some mechanical, watched the center platform. This place had seen war's end. It had seen planets sentenced. It had watched entire civilizations erased with calm votes. Nothing surprised the council anymore, except today. The humans were late. That alone was enough to cause quiet tension. Human ambassador Elias Ward stood alone at the center of the chamber. He wore a simple dark uniform. No medals, no symbols of power. His hands rested calmly at his sides. His face showed nothing. But inside, he felt the weight of everything. Around him, alien delegates whispered in low tones. They always arrive early. Why are they waiting? This is not normal. Elias did not react. He stared straight ahead, eyes fixed on the glowing floor. Supreme Overseer Kararthax leaned forward in his massive throne. His 4 yellow eyes narrowed. His armored claws tapped against metal. The human delegation is requested to step forward, the Overseer announced. His voice echoed through the hall. Nothing happened. 10 seconds passed. Then 20. A faint vibration moved through the chamber. Some delegates shifted in their seats. Security drones floated higher, their sensors scanning the entrances. Then, finally, the main doors opened. 12 humans entered together. They walked slowly, their footsteps quiet but steady. No guards surrounded them. No visible weapons. Just calm faces and straight backs. They took their seats behind Elias. Kararthax studied them closely. "You are late," he said. Elias lifted his head. "Yes," he replied. The Overseer's mandibles clicked in irritation. This emergency session was called because humanity violated Council Directive 7. A large hologram appeared, showing a distant planet, Vega Prime. "You colonized this world without approval," Kararthax continued. "You ignored official warnings." Elias spoke calmly. "We did not colonize Vega Prime." A low growl spread through the chamber. "You established settlements," Kararthax said. "We evacuated survivors." Elias corrected. "The planet was dying. Your patrol fleets refused to answer distress calls." The council stirred. Kararthax slammed one claw onto the table. "You were ordered to wait." Elias nodded once. "Yes." He paused. "And humanity decided not to." The words were soft, but they hit the room like a shockwave. Silence fell. Even the humming of the holograms seemed quieter. Several alien leaders leaned forward. Others activated threat symbols on their wrist displays. Security drones drifted closer to the human section. "You think yourselves above council authority?" Kararthax demanded. Elias did not raise his voice. "No." "Then why defy us?" Elias looked slowly around the chamber. Because behind every throne sat centuries of power. Behind every glowing eye was a history of conquest. He spoke carefully. "Because your authority failed." Angry voices erupted. "You dare accuse us? You are a minor species. You exist because of council mercy." Elias waited until the noise faded. Then he tapped a small device on his wrist. The holograms changed. Now the chamber filled with images of burning cities. Broken ships drifting through space. Children running through smoke-filled streets. Hospitals destroyed by orbital fire. Gasps echoed. "These are council peace operations," Elias said. His voice stayed steady. "These are worlds you abandoned. These are people you taxed while they were starving. These are systems you sold to warlords for influence." Some delegates looked away. Others stared in silence. Kararthax hissed, "You are emotional." "Yes," Elias replied. "Because we care." He took one step forward. "We crossed oceans before we understood maps. We survived plagues that wiped out half our population. We rebuilt after nuclear fire. We stood up every time the universe tried to erase us." The humans behind him rose to their feet, not aggressively, not loudly, just together. Elias continued, You taught us about galactic law. You taught us about power. But you forgot something. He paused. You forgot what it means to protect. The chamber felt colder. We did not come here to apologize, Elias said. We came to inform you. Kararthax's eyes narrowed. Inform us of what? Elias met his gaze. That humanity will no longer follow council commands. Shocked murmurs filled the room. We will defend independent worlds. We will protect weaker species. We will stop your raids. Kararthax rose from his throne. You declare separation? Elias shook his head. No. He took a slow breath. We declare responsibility. Security drones powered up. Weapons hummed. Elias turned to his team. It's time. Every human stood. Slowly. Together. They began walking toward the exit. The Galactic Council froze. No species had ever walked away. Ever. Kararthax shouted, his voice shaking the chamber. You leave this hall, and you become enemies of the galaxy. Elias stopped at the door. He turned back once. His eyes were calm. Then maybe the galaxy needs new enemies. The doors closed behind them. The sound echoed through the chamber. And for the first time in history, the Galactic Council sat in silence. The doors had barely finished closing when chaos erupted inside the Galactic Council chamber. Alien delegates shouted in dozens of languages. Energy symbols flashed above their seats. Security drones formed a defensive wall near the exits. Supreme Overseer Kararthax slammed both claws onto the table. Silence. The sound echoed like thunder. Slowly, the chamber grew quiet again. But something had changed. Fear now lived in the room. Kararthax stood tall, his armored body casting long shadows across the floor. They walked out, he said. They dare to walk out. Several council members exchanged worried looks. No species has ever done this. They openly challenged us. This is rebellion. Kararthax turned toward the massive central display. Bring up human military data. The holograms shifted. Hundreds of star systems appeared. Human shipyards, defense platforms, fleets moving through hyperspace lanes. A tall insectoid delegate spoke. The humans are mobilizing. A crystalline being flickered nervously. They are sending medical ships into border war zones. They are evacuating civilian populations. They are blocking council patrol routes. The overseer's mandibles click slowly. They act without permission. They interfere with authorized operations. They undermine our authority. Then he said the words every council member feared. They are becoming unpredictable. That word carried weight. Unpredictable species were dangerous. Very dangerous. A reptilian war commander leaned forward. Grant me permission to strike their outer colonies. Several delegates agreed. Make an example. Crush their supply lines. Show them consequence. But Kararthax raised one claw. Not yet. The room fell silent. Humans do not fight like us, he continued. They adapt. They learn. They grow stronger under pressure. A small avian delegate spoke softly. They are not building an empire. Kararthax turned slowly. What? They are forming alliances, the avian said. Independent systems are already requesting human protection. The overseer's eyes narrowed. That is worse. Across the stars, the humans moved quickly. Rescue ships arrived in war zones before council aid ever had. Human engineers repaired broken stations without charging credits. Human soldiers stood guard over refugee camps. News spread fast. For the first time, smaller species saw someone powerful helping without demanding payment. Back on Earth, Elias Ward stood inside the Strategic Command Center. Massive screens showed fleet movements. Diplomatic messages scrolled nonstop. Admiral Reyes stepped beside him. The council is angry. Elias nodded. They always are. They're debating military response. Elias folded his hands. Let them. Reyes hesitated. You realize what we just did. Elias looked at the stars. We chose who we are. He remembered the faces from the holograms. Burning cities. Broken families. Children hiding under wreckage. Humanity had stayed silent too long. Now silence was no longer an option. A young officer approached. Ambassador, we're receiving requests from 12 systems. For aid? Yes. Elias closed his eyes briefly. Approve all humanitarian deployments. And defense. Defensive only. Protect civilians. The officer nodded and hurried away. Back at the Galactic Council, panic grew. Reports arrived every minute. Human fleets entered neutral zones. Council raiders were blocked by human destroyers. Slave transports were intercepted. One by one, control began slipping. Kalarthax watched the data feeds in disbelief. They are positioning faster than predicted. A tactical analyst spoke. They're using decentralized command. They don't wait for approval. They let local captains make decisions. The overseer growled. That is inefficient. The analyst hesitated. No, overseer. It's flexible. Another delegate added. They repair ships mid-battle. They rotate crews instead of exhausting them. They retreat when needed. They return stronger. Kalarthax slowly lowered himself back into his throne. For the first time in centuries, doubt entered his mind. Humans did not fight for territory. They fought for people. That made them harder to predict and harder to break. A council elder spoke quietly. They are not seeking power. They are seeking justice. Several members laughed nervously. Justice is irrelevant. Kalarthax shook his head. No. He stared at the human fleet markers. Justice motivates. And motivated species are the most dangerous. Elsewhere, Elias stood alone on a viewing platform overlooking Earth. Blue oceans turned beneath drifting clouds. Admiral Reyes joined him. You think they'll attack? Elias answered honestly. Yes. And when they do? Elias took a slow breath. We defend. We don't conquer. We don't destroy worlds. We protect them. Reyes nodded. You started something big today. Elias watched the sunrise. No, he said quietly. They did. Far across the galaxy, the Galactic Council prepared for war, but something inside them knew the truth. They had not just lost control. They had awakened something far worse. A species that refused to kneel. A species that walked away. And now, a species that was coming back. The first shots were not fired in space. They were fired in politics. Within days of the walkout, the Galactic Council issued a formal declaration. Humanity was labeled a destabilizing force. Trade lanes were restricted. Fuel shipments were frozen. Medical supplies were delayed. The message was clear. Submit or suffer. But Earth did not answer. Instead, human engineers opened emergency manufacturing lines. Old shipyards were reactivated. Civilian factories began producing defense parts. Retired pilots returned to service. Volunteers filled recruitment centers across every human world. They did not come for glory. They came because they had seen the images. They had heard Elias's speech. They understood what was at stake. On Luna Station, Admiral Reyes stood before a room filled with captains. They think pressure will break us, he said. They think we will beg. The captains listened silently. Reyes pointed to a projection of council-controlled space. They don't understand something. He paused. We don't fight like they do. The captains nodded. They fight to control. Reyes continued. We fight to protect. Across the stars, the first confrontation happened near the mining colony of Arvin's Reach. A council enforcement fleet arrived to reclaim control. 3 heavy cruisers. 8 escort ships. They broadcast warnings. Then human destroyers appeared from hyperspace. 5 ships, outnumbered, but they did not retreat. Captain Marachin commanded the lead destroyer. Her voice stayed calm. All vessels, defensive formation. Council weapons powered up. Human shields flared. The first exchange was brief. Human ships moved unpredictably, cutting tight turns through debris fields. They used asteroids as cover. They disabled engines instead of destroying hulls. Within minutes, 2 council cruisers were drifting powerless. The remaining ships withdrew. Human marines boarded the disabled vessels. They provided medical aid to wounded aliens. They released imprisoned workers. They left food and repair kits behind. News of the battle spread fast, not because humans won, but because they showed mercy. Small systems began sending quiet signals to Earth. Requests for protection, requests for guidance, requests for hope. Elias Ward read every message. Each one carried fear. Each one carried trust. He stood again in the Strategic Command Center. "The Council thinks this is rebellion," he said, "but it's something else." Admiral Reyes nodded. "It's responsibility." Elias turned to the room. "We are not here to replace tyrants. We are here to end them." No one cheered. They simply went back to work. On the Council homeworld, K.R.R. Thax reviewed footage from Arvin's Reach. He watched human Marines helping injured aliens. He watched them release captives. His mandibles tightened. "They show weakness," said a war commander. K.R.R. Thax shook his head slowly. "No, they show control." A strategist stepped forward. "They could have destroyed the fleet." "Yes," K.R.R. Thax replied, "but they didn't." The room grew quiet. Another delegate spoke. "They are winning hearts." That phrase caused discomfort. "Hearts do not matter," someone said. K.R.R. Thax disagreed. "Hearts create loyalty, and loyalty builds armies." He stared at the star map. "We train species to fear us. They are teaching species to trust them." The Council launched propaganda broadcasts. They accused humans of manipulation. They warned of hidden agendas. They promised safety under Council rule. But people remembered the burned cities. They remembered ignored distress calls. They remembered who arrived first with medical ships. The lies fell flat. Back on Earth, Elias visited a refugee center. Families from 3 different species stood in line for food. Human doctors treated alien children. Engineers repaired broken translation devices. A small alien child looked up at Elias. "Are you the human who talked to the bad leaders?" Elias knelt. "Yes." "Are they coming back?" Elias hesitated. "Maybe." The child nodded. "Will you protect us?" Elias felt his throat tighten. "Yes," he said. "We will." Later that night, Elias met with military command. "They're preparing a major strike," Reyes reported. "They will try to break us fast." Elias studied the projections. "Let them come." The room went silent. Reyes looked at him. "You're certain?" Elias nodded. "We are not fighting for territory. We are fighting for everyone they forgot." He straightened. "That gives us something they don't have." "What's that?" Reyes asked. Elias answered softly. "Purpose." Across the galaxy, fleets began to move. Council armadas gathered. Human defense lines activated. Independent systems aligned behind Earth. The moment was coming. The Council believed humanity would fall. Humanity believed something else. They believed this was the beginning, not of war, but of change. The Galactic Council did not wait. Their armadas moved in silence. Dozens of massive war fleets left hyperspace across human border systems. Ships the size of cities appeared beside peaceful colonies. Energy weapons charged. Planetary shields trembled. The message was clear. Submit now, or burn. On Earth, warning alarms echoed through Strategic Command. Admiral Reyes stood over a glowing tactical table. "They've launched a full suppression operation," an officer reported. 3 fleets approaching Sol-adjacent systems. Elias Ward watched quietly. "They want to scare us." Reyes nodded. "They want us to surrender before the first shot." Elias folded his hands. "We won't." Human defense stations powered up across the region. Orbital platforms came online. Civilian transports evacuated outer colonies. Every movement was calm, precise, prepared. Human commanders did not panic. They had expected this. The first clash happened near Horizon Gate. A Council dreadnought emerged from hyperspace, followed by 12 escorts. Their weapons glowed with violent energy. Human forces were already waiting. Captain Marachin led the defense group. "All ships, shield wall formation," she ordered. Human vessels formed a wide arc in front of the jump point. Council cannons fired first. Space lit up in white fire. Human shields absorbed the impact. Some flickered. None failed. Chen's voice remained steady. "Return fire. Disable propulsion only." Human rail cannons launched tungsten rounds at extreme speed. Precision strikes crippled engines. Escort ships spun out of formation. Council fighters rushed forward. Human drones intercepted them, not to destroy, to jam targeting systems. Boarding teams moved in. Marines crossed into enemy vessels. They secured control rooms. They disarmed crews. They treated wounded aliens. They left food behind. Within 20 minutes, the entire Council task force was neutralized. News of the victory spread instantly. But again, it was not the battle that shocked the galaxy. It was what humans did afterward. They repaired damaged Council ships. They escorted survivors back to neutral space. They released prisoners. They transmitted medical data to alien hospitals. Small species watching from afar began to understand. Humans were not conquerors. They were guardians. Back on the Council homeworld, Kararthax stared at the battle reports. They should have destroyed the fleet, a commander said. They had every chance. Kararthax spoke slowly. They don't fight to dominate. They fight to end suffering. The room felt uneasy. That makes them dangerous. Another fleet was launched. Then another. Each time, humans responded the same way. Defend. Disable. Help. Never invade. Never enslave. Never retaliate with cruelty. Independent systems began flying human flags beside their own. Council tax collectors were turned away. Slave markets collapsed overnight. Supply chains shifted toward Earth. For the first time in centuries, the Council felt control slipping. Elias Ward stood inside a temporary command post on Vega Prime. The planet was slowly recovering. Green fields replaced ash. New shelters housed refugees. Alien children played beside human engineers. Admiral Reyes joined him. You see the reports? Yes. They're losing influence. Elias nodded. They built fear. We build trust. Reyes hesitated. You know this will make them desperate. Elias looked at the sky. They already are. Back at Council headquarters, Kararthax addressed the full assembly. Humanity is undermining galactic order. We must crush their momentum. A warlord delegate rose. Authorized total bombardment of their core systems. Gasps echoed. That was extinction-level force. Kararthax paused. He considered it. Then he shook his head. No. Silence. They want us to show our true nature. They want the galaxy to see us as monsters. His eyes narrowed. We will not give them that victory. Several delegates protested. They are stealing our influence. They are rewriting loyalty. Yes, Kararthax replied, which means this is no longer just military. He activated projection. Human aid ships. Human soldiers guarding alien villages. Human doctors saving non-human lives. They are winning without killing. He leaned forward. That is something we have never faced. Meanwhile, Elias received a message from a distant system. A world under Council blockade. No food, no medicine, no defense. He didn't hesitate. Send everything we can spare. Reyes looked at him. That stretches our lines. Elias answered quietly. If we abandon them, we become the Council. Human fleets changed course. They broke the blockade. They delivered supplies. They evacuated the sick. The system officially aligned with Earth. Then another. Then 3 more. The Council watched helplessly. Their empire was unraveling. Not through war. Through compassion. Kararthax finally understood. Humanity had chosen a path that could not be stopped by fear. They had made themselves necessary. And now, they were becoming unstoppable. The Galactic Council had ruled through fear for over 1,000 years. Now fear ruled them. Inside the Grand Chamber, once filled with confidence and control, alien leaders argued openly. Voices overlapped. Threat symbols flashed above floating desks. Security drones hovered closer than ever. Supreme Overseer Kararthax watched in silence. Every report told the same story. Human influence was spreading. Independent systems were refusing Council taxes. Slave convoys were being intercepted. Council fleets were turning back rather than face human defense lines. Worst of all, entire species were requesting Earth's protection. A senior strategist stepped forward. "We are losing saw control." Kararthax did not reply. Another delegate shouted, "They are rewriting loyalty. They are stealing our subjects." A war commander slammed his claw onto the table. "Authorize full planetary strike on Earth." The chamber froze. Destroying a core world would send a message no one could ignore. Kararthax rose slowly from his throne. "No." Several delegates stared at him. "They want us to become monsters," he said. "They want the galaxy to see us burn children in cities." His eyes narrowed. "We will not hand them that victory." "Then what do we do?" someone demanded. Kararthax turned toward the star map. "We break their alliances." He activated a new projection. Dozens of fringe systems appeared. "These worlds depend on human aid," he continued. "We isolate them. We cut supply routes. We spread doubt. We make humanity choose who to save." Silence followed. That strategy was cruel, but effective. Across space, Council agents began work. False broadcasts accused humans of favoritism. Fake distress signals drained human resources. Council patrols quietly blocked food shipments to neutral systems. Refugee camps began running low on medicine. The goal was simple: overload humanity, force them to fail. On Earth, Elias Ward studied the incoming reports. His face showed strain for the first time. "They're targeting our logistics," Admiral Reyes said. "They're creating crises faster than we can answer." Elias nodded. "They want us to collapse under responsibility." A young officer spoke. "We can't reach every system in time." The room felt heavy. Reyes looked at Elias. "We may have to prioritize." Elias closed his eyes. He saw the alien child in Vega Prime. He saw burning cities. He opened his eyes. "No." Reyes frowned. "We don't have infinite ships." "I know." Elias straightened. "Then we change how we fight." He turned to the command staff. "Open alliance channels." "You mean military?" "No," Elias replied. "Civilian." Across human space, something unexpected happened. Freighter captains volunteered their ships. Medical guilds formed rapid response teams. Private engineering groups offered mobile repair stations. Civilian pilots escorted refugee transports. Human citizens donated resources. Factories switched to emergency production. They didn't wait for orders. They acted. For the first time, humanity fought as one society, not just a military. On a distant moon, Council forces attempted to retake a liberated colony. Human defenders were outnumbered. Instead of retreating, local civilians joined them. Alien farmers carried supplies. Human technicians repaired shields under fire. When Council troops landed, they found entire communities standing together. They withdrew. News spread. The galaxy watched ordinary beings resist tyranny side by side. Back on the Council homeworld, Kararthax received updated intelligence. Human civilian networks are replacing formal logistics. They're self-organizing. They're adapting. His mandibles tightened. They learned too quickly. A junior analyst spoke nervously. "Some Council soldiers are refusing orders." Kararthax turned slowly. "Explain." "They've seen humans treat prisoners with respect. They receive medical aid from enemy ships. They no longer believe our propaganda." The overseer felt something unfamiliar. Unease. Meanwhile, Elias stood inside a refugee shelter built into an asteroid station. Thousands of displaced beings crowded the halls. He walked among them without guards. An alien elder approached. "You did not have to help us." Elias answered softly. "Yes, we did." "You gained nothing." Elias shook his head. "We gain everything." Later, Reyes met Elias privately. "They're running out of options." Elias nodded. "They'll try something big." As if summoned by his words, alarms activated. Emergency transmission from deep Council space. A massive armada was mobilizing, not toward Earth, toward a cluster of defenseless neutral worlds. "They're going to wipe them out," Reyes said. Elias felt his chest tighten. "They want to force our hand." Human fleets were already stretched thin. They could save Earth, or they could save the neutral systems. Not both. The room waited for Elias's decision. He didn't hesitate. Redirect everything. Reyes stared. That leaves Sol exposed. Elias met his eyes. If we protect only ourselves, we lose who we are. Orders went out. Human fleets changed course. Earth stood vulnerable. Across the galaxy, Thax watched the shift. They chose the civilians, he whispered. He leaned back slowly. They truly are different. And for the first time, the Galactic Council realized they might be facing something they could not defeat. Not with fleets. Not with fear. Not with power. Earth stood quiet. Human fleets had left its borders nearly empty. Orbital defenses remained active. But everyone knew they were not enough to stop a full Council invasion. Yet Earth did not panic. Cities stayed calm. People continued working. Children went to school. Factories ran day and night. They trusted that humanity had made the right choice. Far across space, the neutral systems waited in terror. Council armadas filled their skies. Planetary shields flickered under heavy fire. Millions prepared for extinction. Then space bent. Human ships arrived, not in dozens, in hundreds. Civilian transports flew beside war destroyers. Medical frigates followed combat cruisers. Private freighters joined military carriers. Humanity had come as one. Admiral Reyes commanded the combined fleet. All vessels, he said calmly. Priority is civilian protection. Human ships formed layered defense lines. Council cannons struck shields. Human formations held. Dropships launched. Marines deployed to evacuation zones. Medical teams rushed into burning cities. Human pilots flew through debris storms to extract trapped families. The battle was fierce, but it was not chaos. Human commanders adapted in real time. Small squads made independent choices. Engineers repaired hulls while under fire. Destroyed ships were replaced instantly by reserve craft. Council forces began to falter. They were trained for conquest, not rescue. They were trained to destroy, not protect. Every time they pushed forward, they found humans already saving lives behind their lines. Council soldiers hesitated. Some refused to fire on evacuation convoys. Others powered down weapons. Within hours, the armada began to fracture. Human forces did not pursue fleeing ships. They stayed with the civilians. They rebuilt hospitals. They restored power grids. They distributed food. Across the galaxy, recording spread. Humans pulling alien children from rubble. Human medics treating Council soldiers. Human pilots shielding refugee transports with their own ships. The narrative collapsed. Back on the Council homeworld, Supreme Overseer Thax watched the feeds. His chamber was silent. No one spoke. The truth was undeniable. Humanity had chosen sacrifice. They had left their own home exposed. To save strangers. Thax slowly rose. They are not seeking control, he said quietly. They are building unity. A war commander whispered, "We cannot defeat that." Thax closed his eyes. For the first time in his long rule, he felt something close to respect. On Earth, Elias Ward stood in the same strategic command center where everything had begun. Reports streamed in. Neutral systems secured. Millions rescued. Council armadas retreating. Admiral Reyes approached. They pulled back. Elias exhaled slowly. They saw. Reyes nodded. They saw who we are. Days later, an unexpected transmission arrived. Galactic Council channel. Thax appeared on screen. His voice was different now. Lower. Careful. Human ambassador. Elias stepped forward. We are listening. The Overseer spoke. The Council acknowledges your actions. A ripple moved through the room. You have demonstrated restraint. You have demonstrated compassion. You have demonstrated strength without domination. Thax paused. The Council requests negotiations. Elias did not smile. He simply nodded. We will attend. The meeting took place in neutral space. No weapons. No threats. Just representatives. This time, humans arrived first. They waited. Thax entered slowly. He did not sit on a throne. He took a standard chair. A symbolic gesture. We misjudged you, Thax admitted. You did not seek power. Elias replied softly, "We seek peace." The overseer looked down. "We ruled through fear." "Yes," Elias said, "and fear breaks." Kararthax raised his eyes. "What do humans want?" Elias answered without hesitation. "End forced labor. End planetary exploitation. End silent suffering. And allow independent systems their voice." Silence followed. Then Kararthax nodded. The council would change. Not because it wanted to, but because it had to. Months later, the galaxy looked different. Council fleets patrolled alongside human ships. Trade routes reopened. Refugee worlds began rebuilding. Smaller species gained representation. Humanity did not take control. They took responsibility. And the galaxy remembered one moment above all others. Not the battles, not the speeches. The moment humans walked out of the council chamber. Because that was when everything changed. They did not leave in anger. They left in purpose. And when humanity returned, they returned not as subjects, not as conquerors, but as guardians of a new future.